Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with a more updated version of the collected goblins that I think is starting to get a lot more tuned. I've cut creatures down to 30. I cut the Founder Street Denizens, even though they're amazing. Let me just tell you that Founder Street Denizens are very, very powerful. I think that they go in like a more hyper aggressive strategy. I mean, they still are a great one-drop. I'm debating whether Goblin Guide is better or Founder Street Denizen is better, because a lot of times if you grab a Goblin Chieftain, it's going to have haste anyways. But it is only Goblin Chieftain that would give the Founder Street Denizen haste, so it might be worthwhile just to have that Goblin Guide get in there for the 2 damage immediately. And still want the Bushwhackers to give haste, even though that you can't kick them off of a collected company. But Legion Loyalist was that good of a 1-drop as well. Like, it has haste. You want to get in there for that bit of damage. I still like the War Drivers for this sort of Lord type effect, but it might be the next cut. And people have said, what about Warren Instigator? That's a fine choice, too. And since I got rid of the Goblin Founder Street Denizens, I also got rid of the Mog War Marshals, even though I think they're still good to bring in against any sort of control-based deck. It's most likely going to get the last cut out of the sideboard. Sideboard still, I think we need to put in some hate cards versus the various different decks. I've gone up to 3 Destructive Reveilles. You do need to get rid of a few pesky enchantments like Ghostly Prisons and Ley Line's not too much, as you don't really have. Yeah, Ley Line's not at all. But you do need to get rid of some pesky enchantments with Destructive Reveille, and it's great versus Affinity. You get rid of one of their like signal pests and still do 2 damage. Thought about an Ancient Grudge in here, but so far I think Destructive Reveille is fine. We're still going to run the 2 or 3 Atarka's Command. I might need to go back up in Atarka's Commands, but we have 2 Lightning Bolts, cut the grenades completely. We have 1 main boarded. I think that it might be a little bit overkill to have more than 1 in this type of deck. That's a Goblin Guide. Where'd the Goblin Grenade go? There's the grenade. And then we have 2 more Lightning Bolts. We'll bring those again other creature decks. I thought about Searing Blood and Searing Blaze in the sideboard. They're just really good cards. I think we do need to go like 1 Searing Blaze. Just an incredible card against a variety of decks. We have Magus the Moon. These should be Magus the Moon. So if you guys want to see Magus the Moons, they are way too expensive. I spent 30 tickets on this one, and I can't afford a second one. So I want to be playing Origins a little bit to get the Origin cards and start bringing around Origins. But if you like this video series, please, 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 someone buy me Magus of the Moon. It's getting incredibly expensive to rotate these decks. Play as a rogue deck builder, you know, coming up with fresh decks every stinking week is incredibly expensive. So might actually get it very cheap here coming up. We've had a lot of people sell out. There was a bump in Modern prices, like Modern dropped like crazy. And usually this does happen when a new set is coming out, but only when the set actually comes out. Origins is still a day away, and then people start selling off Modern staples just because they want to play some Origins and don't want to buy tickets. Well, the problem with that is Origins, again, it hasn't been released, and one of the most staple of all staple cards in the Modern scene has just hit a massive drop, and that was Scalding Tarn. It went down almost 5 tickets. And to me, that almost suggests that people like Tarmogoyf, Scalding Tarn, Fulminator Mage, there was like a bunch of just Modern staples that had a loss for no apparent reason. You can't really put your mind around why these cards are going down, except that maybe there is a massive sellout. Now, I do know a very, very good friend of mine, Morton, did just hang up MTGO. He sold his entire collection completely, $1,400 worth of cards he sold out of, and he said it's enough when he read the article about the taxation of 2-man, 8-man, and daily queues by Wizards of the Coast. And now let me just one more time, for those of you who are not aware, they said that they were going to change it to play points. They have it now, I guess, with the outrage. Like they switched over to play points from Phantom points, but 2-man queues are giving event tickets still, which was supposed to happen yesterday. They're supposed to start giving play points to start taking a tax, a 12.5% tax for every 2-man queue, and then it's various different percentages as you play in the 8-mans and daily queues. And then dailies were going to cost twice as much, and all that I don't think they've quite put into place yet. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how Wizards does. So it might be a little bit premature for Morton. I guess he was just very upset with how without asking the community's input, Wizard just decides to implement something which I think is going to hurt the economy. I had some people on Reddit like challenge my viewpoint with, well, we're getting a tax right now with Dragons of Tarkir only be worth 2.5 tickets. That's if you sell the product. That has nothing to do with Wizards of the Coast. That has to do with the secondary market. Wizards is still giving us what they say is worth 4 tickets. You're putting 2 tickets in each player, and they're giving out a $4 or 4 ticket prize determined by them. Now that's just fine and dandy because that's how economies work. Economies are going to dictate the secondary value of a product, and it's good. It's a net good for the, I mean, they've put a price on something, and then the price gets devalued and shifted around as necessary. So there is no tax, though. There is zero tax, and people keep trying to say, how can you cannot see there's a tax? You see 4 tickets come in, you only get 2.5 out. No, that is not a tax. A tax, that's like, you're not being taxed if you go and buy a card from your local game store and then go sell it to your friend for less because you can't sell it for as much as the local game store. The local game store is not taxing you. They're not like charging you a cut of that product that you sell. What happens is if with Wizards, literally what is happening right now is they are taking 12.5% out of the economy. That is a huge difference, and people need to see that. That is devaluing the economy by 12.5%. Every 2-man queue is not going back in. And it will eventually parasite all of the value out of MTGO. I mean, that'd be a slow rate. And people are like, well, it's going to be better because you can use those points for drafts. No, you can use play points for 1,400 or 140, so the equivalent of 14 tickets to do a draft. Who in their right mind spends tickets to play draft right now? No one does. No one queues up right now and says, I'd just rather play 14 tickets rather than use the 14 tickets, and we'll use the same value. It's 9.5 tickets right now. If you buy 3 Dragons of Tarkir packs from the bots, that ends up being 7.5 plus the 2 event ticket entry fee, and then you can join it. So they're trying to say this is cheaper. It's just going to devalue the ability. Like how many? So let's see. We need 3 wins to play in a 3 wins and we'll say 4 wins. 4 wins right now to play in a draft from a 2-man queue. If you use the Dragons of Tarkir booster packs, and we'll even round it up because it's not quite that. It's more like 3.5. Okay, so now what you need for 30 points per win with their player point system is you would need almost 5, little under 5 wins to play in a draft because 5 times 30 is 150. So it'd be like 4 wins and 2 losses would get you, so 6 games. And then I guess, losses will eventually make it towards that. But yeah, this isn't any cheaper whatsoever. It's just taking value of the economy. Anyway, back to the deck tech. I just want to address that really quickly. How I just cannot I cannot wrap my mind around how these players that were yelling at me on Reddit do not understand economies. They do not understand. I've been involved in online games that have online economies for a long time. It is something I'm very passionate about, actually studying markets and how they work. And this is a net bad for everything when an arbitrary company is just taking value out for no good reason. So, anywho, if they want to take any sort of value out, I suggest doing it on an auction house, and that's just the price we pay for using an auction house software. Kind of like World of Warcraft takes out an auction house cut. That's the only way I would justify it. Not on a 2-man queue. Any other game, they kind of let you earn free points just by playing. And Wizards is taking this opposite stance. We're going to punish you for playing, which is essentially what it is. It is a punishment for entering up a 2-man queue. There is no justification or rationalization around it. It is a punishment. A tax. Anywho, back to the deck tech. Let's see here. We need to add 1 more card. Maybe another Searing Blaze. I'm just going to keep the 1. Let me know. Let's see. Maybe another Destructive Reveille. I was thinking of another card here that would go in to kind of hose. What kind of decks do we need to take care of? Like, I thought about a Relic of Progenitus, but we're just going to try to go fast against our opponent. Maybe another Targus Command, but Targus Command just got a lot weaker with cutting a lot of the 1-drops. And it is still good to possibly do 3 damage and put a land out, or 3 damage and +1/+1, or 3 damage they can't gain a life. So it's still okay. I'm not quite sure if 3 of them are justified. We have to look at scenarios of what cards we'd take out and what cards we'd put in. Right now, with the if we go like the Magus of the Moon Blood Moon route, we'd probably take out Mutavaults, a number of Mutavaults, and maybe a Collected Company or two, as it's gonna be harder for us to cast the green. But then they're just so good with Magus of the Moon and Fulminator Mage that maybe that wouldn't be the best route to go. So we're gonna have to figure out the right scenarios to happen, and then we'll go from there. I think for right now we'll just add another Searing Blaze, because those are really good against Affinity or any type of. Oh, do you know what? We might want an Eidolon in here. Eidolon's just really weird because we're not trying to do incremental damage. We're trying to do one massive burst damage through Collective Company. So I'm just going to go Searing Blaze. This will help us against, we have this nice little package right here against Affinity that comes in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards that come in versus Affinity. And then we'd probably want to take out like War Drivers. I would say War Drivers and Pile Drivers versus Affinity, because they just don't really impact the board that much when they can be chump blocked. But yeah, anywho, we'll get some games going. I rambled. I apologize. I'm just a little bit miffed right now. We lose a great brewer in the community. I hope he sticks around and still posts some stuff. But it's so easy on MTGO just to post a screenshot and then post it on Facebook or the website. Whereas Paper Magic, you have to bring your cell phone or your camera and then upload it. It's just not. It's just not as good to do so. So we've probably lost Morton. He's been an incredible friend, an incredible brewer. Since the beginning of Rogue Deck Builder. He's the first person that I met through Rogue Deck Builder and actually brought on board. And so it's a huge blow to the brand. It's a huge blow to the community. And I'm hoping that before Wizards starts and just spouting their mouth off with these crazy ideas, that they'd actually ask for the input of the community. Anyway, we'll play some games here. This has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.